Sláinte I do buckaroos. How the heck are you? I haven't been doing many live videos lately, and it's been a long week. So I thought I'd come on late night here. Just got off work a little bit ago. Oops, hit the wrong button again. That's the problem. I keep hitting the wrong damn button. Anyways, bear with me. There. Oh, no, not that button. We'll hit that button. There we go. And how the heck are you? So I decided to just go crazy. I decided to open a new one. I've been dying to try it. I haven't had any alcohol in about 5 days. I've really been dying to try this. So without having any other alcohol, I've got the Four Finger Distillery single malt whiskey. It's at 90 proof. The single malt whiskey is crafted using a complex variety of malted barley, which brings out notes of chocolate and sweet oak from the new charred barrels. I actually had this, a little bit of it, in a flight when I was at the distillery. I really had a good time there. They recently had a name change because the back says Four Finger Distillery, distilled at 1205 Distillery. So there we go. Let me show that to you. I've got some poured neat and on the rocks, but I'll probably get to the rocks first. I don't want too much water to get in there. Oh, yeah. But I do want to check the nose on the neat. And I'm going to show you the color difference there. Look how beautiful that looks. Oh, God, that's gorgeous. That's the big difference. Of course, there are others, but they're the big difference between American single malt whiskeys, or most anywhere. Well, this one, let's just focus on this one. And its Scotch and Irish counterparts is Scotch and Irish whiskey isn't typically aged in new charred oak. They tend to use used bourbon barrels. Not always, but generally speaking. And I think that's why American single malt whiskeys are bolder and have more character, in my opinion, anyway, because of that new charred oak. It just takes it to a whole other level, bringing out those big notes of chocolate that they mentioned. Oh man, that is something. I'm going to take a drink. Then I'm going to focus on the rocks. But I wanted to check the nose on the deed here. Sláinte, anybody tuning in, of course, you know the drill. If you got any questions, please put it up there. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. It is sweet initially, and it's going to make you think it's going to be sweeter than it turns out to be. Of course, I'm going to give you the usual suspects, right? You're going to find some vanilla. You're going to find some oak. They mentioned chocolate. I'm going to add toffee in there. I'm going to add toasted hazelnut to that mix, and we'll focus on that later. But since I have it on the rocks, and like I said, I want to try it on the rocks because usually when I have a whiskey for the first time, I want to have it at least once on the rocks. So anyway, sláinte. Oh wow, that's gorgeous too. A lot of whiskeys will lose a little bit or a lot, to be honest with you, once you get them very cold. Once you start to get a little ice to melt in there, they change quite significantly. But having tried it neat first, it has altered some, but not as much as typical. This whiskey's gorgeous. I do love the American single malt category. I'm a big fan. I don't understand why some aren't, and I think usually the reason for that is that they expect it to be something else. Folks think single malt, they automatically run to Scotch, some to Irish, and of course there's the Japanese single malt market. But again, I'm going to say this: I think most American single malts that I have are bolder than those others, because a lot of that is because of the aging in the new charred oak barrels. That changes the game completely. I wasn't going to open this one. I was going to wait till a holiday came up or something, but I was dying to try it. So I haven't had anything in about a week. Really want to try. Since I hadn't had any other alcohol today, nothing to mess up the palate. I really wanted to try it. Hey, Ken, how are you? Hope you're doing all right, man. I'm gonna post your comment there. I don't remember if you were a whiskey guy or not. To be honest with you, I haven't talked to you in a little bit. Since I know it's rather early in your neck of the woods, I'm thinking, what the hell you doing awake? Or maybe you're an early riser. I don't know. A lot of big oak going on here, which is what I like. Uh, Nice spice in the finish. It is enjoyable on the rocks, but I'm going to be real honest with you. I'll probably focus on the rest of it neat. It's certainly not a whiskey that I'm going to cocktail. Most whiskeys, I will tend to see how it reacts in an old fashioned and a Manhattan. But this one, now, this is a neat drinker, man. I had a great experience. I had a great experience at their distillery. I really did. They were friendly. They were informative. They were inclusive. I love that to just about, in fact, every place that I went to in Indianapolis was that way. And I found that interesting. I saw pride flags at every place that I went to, and then trans flags as well, and various versions of. I wish my neck of the woods had that in inclusiveness, but maybe someday. Look at that color, though. That color is gorgeous. Oh man, that's amazing. So I'm going to focus on the well, I'll get to the aroma and the flavors later, but at first I wanted to really say something about the viscosity, the mouthfeel. It is just amazing. It is just right where you want a whiskey like this to be. It is so pleasant to drink. You do feel a lot of that char on the nose. I mean, it's not Scotch where you get that sort of smokiness. But you do feel those you do feel that it's a new charred oak barrel. You really feel that those nice char notes on the nose. So they mentioned chocolate, so yeah, most definitely you're going to feel some chocolate. But I'm also going to say toffee, and again, like I mentioned earlier, like a toasted hazelnut, little nutty note in there. Oak in the finish, as well as some spice notes. What spice notes, Tom? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you brought it up. Of course, typically you're going to find some cinnamon, but I'm going to take it a little bit further. I'm going to say some ginger, most definitely. You might find some clove. I just started drinking. You might find some clove, cardamom. It just depends on how aware you are of spice notes. I mentioned toffee, but I'm also going to add maybe just a little hint of maple in there as well. Maybe some brown sugar because you're going to feel some molasses. It's just a gorgeous whiskey. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to hide it from myself. Put it away. I want to mess with it until I'm able to share with some friends or I get to a holiday. But I was dying to try it since I hadn't had anything in a while, and I had anything today. I really want to. Well, my palate was fresh. So let's give that sucker a shot. If you're ever in Indianapolis, I cannot recommend Four Finger Distillery uh, more highly. They are amazing. Again, the atmosphere. The customer service, the friendliness, the products, everything was just perfect in my opinion. I cannot say enough good things about the folks at Four Finger Distillery. This stuff is just crazy good, and I love bourbon because I grew up drinking bourbon. I've really grown an appreciation for rye, but it seems like every time I open up a single malt, an American single malt whiskey, I'm thinking, damn, I really love this. I really love this category. Although I will say that most of them, not all, but most of them, I don't know that they're built for cocktails. Mostly because they just drink so amazingly well neat. It's just a whiskey you want to relax and appreciate. God almighty, that's just good. Again, it's not as sweet as it might lead you to believe. At first, the nose is there's a little sweetness on the nose, and that beginning of the sip, you really get a lot of sweetness. Like I mentioned earlier, you might feel some some toffee, some brown sugar, some maple, even. Oh god! But by the time you round the middle, you're already feeling that oak, that spice. It doesn't let it get too sweet on you. And I love that big, bold, spicy finish that it has. Again, I'm going to show you this bottle, but this stuff is beyond gorgeous. It is just, oh my goodness, good. Four Finger Distillery single malt whiskey, 90 proof. The single malt whiskey is crafted using complex variety of malted barley, which brings out notes of chocolate and sweet oak. So there you go. And to be a single malt, it must be 100% malted barley. So there you go. This is I think my wife said she found this glass in Indianapolis too, so I've got the right match. But I really like these. I suppose they're probably more brandy snifters, but I really like them. They are perfect for neat drinking because you put a couple ounces in here and it's absolutely perfect. And I don't think it has to be a Glencairn style. They do serve their purpose, but I don't think I think, let me say it this way. I think other glasses can perform the same duty without being quite as pretentious. How about that? Like this one, for instance. This is just enjoyable. Uh, the first alcohol in about 5 days. Oh, cheese whiz. Oh man. I don't usually drink for about 2 weeks straight every day, but I did on vacation, so I had to gradually kind of wean myself off. Uh, but about a week ago, I kind of felt some sinusitis coming on. So my wife messaged the doctor and they sent me some antibiotics, but you really shouldn't drink on antibiotics. So that's why I haven't been drinking for 5 days. There's nothing noble about it, but that's why. But I needed to take that breather anyway. But I was on vacation. I was really trying to hit so many places. There wasn't really any place to take a break. I couldn't stop one day. There was just too many places to hit, and I still didn't get anywhere near all of them. But it was very nice, especially where we were staying. We stayed at the Brew Dog there in Columbus, and that was just incredible. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that didn't mean anything to my wife, right? We lift up. You got to lift up the garage doors, and you look down, and there's the sour barrel room. I said, "Look, dear, look at all those barrels. It's a lot of tanks." No, no, you don't understand. This is important because. And then sometimes I'd see somebody working down there, and I wave to him and talk to him. I see people coming out of the rooms on the floor below us. Hey, how you doing? It was a beer geek's dream, man. But we did spend a day in Indianapolis before heading to Columbus, and that was a lot of fun too. I hit a few breweries and a couple of distilleries. Hotel Tango, I hit that was enjoyable as well, and I'll talk about them at a later date in more detail. But I want to focus on this one here, Four Finger Distillery single malt whiskey. I got to be honest with you, this is one of my absolute favorites. This is just gorgeous. 90 proof is perfect for this whiskey. It's a little bit chewy, which is where you want it to be. I love those chocolate notes, and they say chocolate in a generality. I'm going to say uh, more like say a 60% dark chocolate. And you get just that little bit. It's not that milk chocolate. It's more of a dark chocolate, but not a 70%. More of a 60. Anyways, I digress. Let me finish this up, and I'll get to the portion two of this particular video. So as I had mentioned already, I hadn't had anything to drink in a couple days, or a few days, 4 days, 5 days, who's counting? Let's say five. So I was going to pound this one first. But I said, no, I want to keep my palate fresh for that whiskey. And but now I'm going to use this one as a palate cleanser. I'm not a big fan of cheap American adjunct lagers, but there's something about this one I enjoy, and I picked up a 12 pack. I kept looking when we stopped in Illinois, and I couldn't find it there going up, but I found it in Illinois on the way back. Anyway, old style, just a classic, man. So, cilantro. Is it a great beer? Well, of course not. It's not supposed to be. Uh, but I don't know. I don't drink beers like this often, but every once in a while, because I found this one, I can't get this one in my neck of the woods. So I went ahead and bought it. When I saw it at a Randall's on the other side of the river, just before we crossed into Missouri, man. Anyway, classic lager. You do want to drink these cold. So I was kind of getting a little concerned that I let it sit there too long, but I had it so cold to start with. We're good, baby. We're good. My beer fridge does its job. I'll tell you that. It keeps saying it's cold, baby, cold. Anyway, anyway, it's lunch. All righty. Since I don't want to end the video, excuse me, hold on. Oh, that's why I don't drink those beers very often. They do that to me. Since I don't want to end the video on a bad beer, I'm going to have one good one with you before we shut her down for the night, or at least for now. Homestead. I may come back later. I'm off tomorrow. Who knows? I haven't been able to do videos in a while. So, anyway, Homestead Beer Co. Pioneer Pilsner, 4.7%. Oh, excuse me. Homestead Beer Co. Keith, Ohio. Although they do have a location in Canal, Winchester, which is where I picked it up. I did enjoy that brewery as well. The bartender was very friendly. I was talking about beer with her, and there's some folks sitting over there eating lunch, and then they looked over, and the guy looks at me and says, "You know something about beer, don't you?" I said, "Well, it kind of depends on who you talk to." He said, "No, I could tell by the way you were talking." And so he was giving, we were talking about some of the beers and other places that they like to go. And that's what I love about going. I love talking to locals. I love when, not everybody is tourist friendly. Some cities are better about it than others, and some places are better at it than others. I just love when I go somewhere and someone will just start talking to you. Because anybody that knows me knows I'll start talking to anybody, man. Anyway, lunch. Look at that beer, man. I did not have this one at the brewery, but I bought it because I was curious. They had stuff there on tap that they didn't have cans, so that's what I was drinking there, and it was insanely enjoyable. But I'm always curious about classic styles, right? If your brewer can brew a flawless Pilsner, then I know they can brew anything. So I typically like to buy classic styles, Pilsner being one of them, because you cannot hide a flaw. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake, and everybody's going to know. But this one was just crazy good, man. So yeah, you get those big bready malts early on. You get those nice herbal hops to balance the sweetness, which is exactly what you want from this style. It's absolutely gorgeous. So there you go. Oh man, I was working on this. Is my haven't decided yet. Trying to figure out my studio. So Studio A, I guess, was probably my television set where I have the backgrounds on. We can call this Studio B right next to it. But my wife just hung up some pictures there. They got on my birthday this year. Um, Uriah Heep and Saxon were playing here in town. So I did the whole VIP package. So I had pictures of Saxon and Uriah Heep. You can see there. Did the whole meet and greet. That was awesome. Of course, Studio C is usually in the kitchen where I have those other pictures hanging up, and then Studio D, I guess, would be the bar area. But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Studio A should be the bar. This should be Studio B. I can't figure it out. We'll work on that later. I can't figure out the importance. I guess the bar probably should be Studio A, the TV B, the C, and that D. I don't know. Nevertheless, this is the stuff that keeps me up at night, man. Uh, anyway, starting to feel better already. I was in a lot of pain when I first got home, but I'm feeling much better now. To steal from a little bit of the bunny character, John Aston from Night Court, if you remember that show. But I'm feeling much better now. Anyway, I digress. I'm the Whiskey Whisper, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and I'm also Tom, the Beer Whisper, Beer Evangelist, prolific drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all right, good guys, lunch.